All right, we are live, girl. So how you doing, Latrice?
I'm doing great. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Long day, just like you. A very extremely long day. But everything is going cool. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Tell you a little bit about myself. So, me, business consultant. I do credit restoration, marketing, branding, taxes. I teach, and now I'm an author to be added to the list. The list goes on. I'm a serial entrepreneur.
That's wonderful. I understand that too. So what got you into doing credit repair and everything?
Really just me restoring my life, from divorce to having children, making mistakes, my back injury, which is my most greatest success story. Falling down 14 stairs, having to restore my life, losing everything that I had. And I actually had to do credit restoration in order to save a big bulk of money so that I can purchase my home. So that actually pushed me a whole lot more.
Wow. So, it's nothing like when someone is a walking testimony of being an individual that, repair credit. I like that because I know a lot of people like to listen to other people that have experience repairing their own credit before they come to repairing theirs. Have you gotten stories like that?
Yes, everybody wants to know, is it real? Are you lying? Are you scamming? What's going on? And with me, I have several success stories of my own because I'm extremely transparent. And life happens to the best of us, and I'm okay with telling my story. So I let them know whatever it is, if it's divorce, if it's children, if it's accidents, if it's bad business decisions. Everybody goes through something. So just letting them know and just giving them even timelines of my story and the transparency actually like really helps to seal the deal.
Yeah, I already know. So tell me, how long have you been doing this now?
This on and off, honestly, for 15 years.
Okay, wow. Yeah, you fully experienced. So tell me, what it was it like growing up as a younger you?
Whew, I was hard headed. I'm the oldest of four. I'm always the one making the decisions, trying to play mom. I had great moments with my mom, not so great moments. Father was killed by the police in Los Angeles, California,
Oh,
years ago. So I grew up in a single, parent home for the most part. Pretty much good upbringing. Nobody's family is perfect. Mine isn't. So I hope nobody thinks that. But it was pretty easy. I got almost everything I wanted with, of course, sacrifices, that my mom had to make.
wow. So how do you think about from your dad getting killed in the past by the police and to see and witness it still going on today?
It's hard.
They're
Because
live.
technically they tried to give us scholarships and things of that nature to pacify what we endured. But as you see, we're here in Georgia. My mom didn't take it, and I don't blame her. I know some people say, it's an easy ticket, an easy ride, but it does not compensate for not having a father for your children throughout the journey.
Yes, and it still don't bring them back. What you think about everyone taking settlements the way they are?
I honestly don't like it. As a child and now 40 years old, without a father, it's things that I can't go to my dad for, like, relationships or business or, parenting and things of that nature where you want to know a male's opinion. I can't go to my father for that or just to cry on his shoulder for years. So with a family member not being able to be replaced, to me, money cannot replace at all anything of that nature. It just can't.
I agree with you totally because
It puts a bandage on it. That's it.
yeah, and then when it runs out, then your mind get to racing even more, and you just find yourself in a bad mental state of mind.
And to be honest, even before it runs out, because I actually dealt with the lawsuit myself with my back injury,
Okay.
can't go into it because of non disclosures. But even as the money is spent and being spent, it does not replace what you have lost. It can help you to plan to go forward, but what fills in that gap of emptiness? Nothing. Money can't buy that.
No, it can't buy nothing at all.
No.
Sometimes I find that awkward. They view our culture like that, as far as they always want to throw money in our faces, and we fall for it every time, and we're so forgiving. So it kind of takes a toll on us a lot of ways.
It does a lot. Most African Americans, and this is just from experience, they feel like if you put a price tag on it, that everything is going to be fine. Just give it here. But when you actually stand up for yourself, which I have done, myself with my situation, to say, no, this is either not enough or this is not going to cut it. You're not going to treat me like I'm a piece of trash. They at that point then view you differently, and then they also make changes behind it as well.
Yes, that is very, very true. So with your father not being in your life, and once you got older, you started to find boys attractive, didn't want to date them and everything. Did you feel a void in there from not having so much knowledge about men?
I did. In all honesty, I was a hot tail. I
Really?
was wide open growing up. Just to be honest, even though my mom tried not to allow me to be that way, I was very stubborn and set in my own ways. So with my dad, it's like I got hustle from him. I got, not taking no from anybody, demanding what I want. So I still put those values into place. But when it came to dating, I also expected certain things from the bulk of the guys that I dealt with.
And what was that you expect?
Money, time, sex. It all depends. At that point in time where I used sex to fulfill the satisfaction and gratification of the emptiness that I had inside of me.
Wow. So when you started being sexually active and everything, did you find yourself getting all the way off track mentally?
I honestly did it without a conscious. I remember just dealing with it with my ex-husband where, at times we have arguments, he'll call me, out my name based off of my past. And the reason why I continued to do those things is because of every broken, piece of my life. It's like I got to a point where I acted like a guy, and I didn't care about emotions and, a full connection. It was a hit and run.
Mm-hmm. I noticed like a lot of women, after so long of us being hurt, broken, and everything, we start to develop these male tendencies. And then, it's funny, men can get away with anything, having sex with multiple women. But when it gets to us, when we want to do that, it's like they call you all out of your name, you're everything in a book. But yet you treated me this way. You don't understand that you're hurting me, you're manipulating me and everything else.
It's like they never understand that they added to the monster that you've become. With them, it starts a lot of times when they first start having sex. But with us, because we're such emotional characters and we try to gravitate and pull men towards us, we fall in love easier. And
Yes.
so, with that being said, once we get rejected, then at that point, all hell breaks loose. That's when the disaster, comes in. And, you put this block up in front of yourself where it's like, okay, I'm going to get what I want when I want them. Ooh, that's the one I want right there. Okay, I'm going to get them. And when I'm done, I may call, I may not call. I may deal with them for a little while and then cut them off. And unfortunately, that's where it landed me.
Mm-hmm. And that develops with women, with us being so emotional and everything, it develops soul ties. So when we continue to have sex with these men, we are gathering up spirits from them and the other individuals that they're having sex with too. And then we
Mm-hmm.
just be all messed up all over the place.
Completely connected to the wrong individuals, and that's a whole nother topic with the soul ties. But it's even hard to break because of course every time you sleep with a different person, you're taking a portion of that person along with you on your journey.
Yes. So what got you to a point where you wanted to make changes in your life, and you started to recognize that you were basically resisting your gifts and everything that you did have in you?
It's a lot of journeys. One of them was my marriage, of course, wanting to settle down, have a family, and then being judged by my past, by someone that I cared about at the time dearly. And then relationships, after that with a few others that I truly wanted to be with. But of course, every time we would go somewhere, it'll be like, oh, that's Latrice. I know her from such and such, such and such. Um, I think the biggest point was after my ex-husband heard a conversation with another guy saying, hey, I slept with her and this, that, and the third. And he tried to attack the guy in the club that particular night. It was on my birthday, 30th birthday. And it was an eye opener. To this day, I never told him that, but it was embarrassing because when I expected to move on or to try to do things differently and just kind of keep going, even though I had the hurt from the marriage, it was more so of I was reliving everything all over again. And then as the years went on, of course, just always attracting hurt, broken men, married guys, men that they'll come to me for advice. But instead of advising them or giving them a great conversation or a spiritual journey, we're going along for a whole nother ride. And so and then leaving, of course, me leaving empty, even though I pushed a lot of them away.
Yeah, that's the hard part too. Especially when you in a broken phase in your life, you find yourself pushing away good men that are really for you, but after you being hurt so long, you just look at everybody the same. Like, I don't
Mhm.
trust you. You just want to do what he did. You just be like, I'm
The
just
the biggest part I'll tell you that truly allowed me to just overcome it and keep going was when I met my youngest daughter's father. I honestly realized, okay, I thought I was over all of this, but I wasn't. I actually pushed him away, thinking that he may be the same. This is like too good to be true. He may just be like the rest of these guys, which he wasn't. But of course, it was like I put up a brick wall and completely pushed him away the entire pregnancy, just assuming that I would go through the same things that I went through, before in other relationships.
wow. Are you still with your youngest?
No, we're
No.
not.
So what stage are you at mentally for yourself? What is one of your major goals that you're doing for you now?
Me is just for one, self reassurance. Taking time for myself, meditating, praying more. Of course, juggling myself as being a mother now of two is not easy. So I'm having to add, additional things onto the schedule. Um, but prayer, like that, honestly has helped me through the bulk of what I've endured. Is prayer, fasting, meditating, and then also one other thing I do differently is I'm mindful of who I speak to. Before I used to have like a slew of friends that I would call and just pour my heart out. But then when things started coming back differently, and they began to discuss these things with other people,
Hmm.
I started looking at things differently, and of course I dissect the friendship. So pretty much just dissecting my life and realizing what I did wrong, going back, apologizing, even if we have no relationship or friendship, with the ex or something of that nature. It's like really just clearing my own slate for my own peace of mind.
How how did you feel, like how do you even feel now with you taking these steps? Because that's major, to even just held accountability on yourself.
It's not easy. I recently even had to apologize to the gentleman that I have my youngest daughter with, Chanel, for some things that I verbally said. I was angry and upset about something, and I literally, like my spirit just told me, get up and apologize. You cannot be accountable for somebody else's actions, and a lot of times we try to make excuses or make something someone else's fault when some things may honestly just be our fault. So, after doing that, that was an eye opener of it's okay to say I'm sorry
Yeah.
or to say this was my fault and I truly apologize. So, with that being said, it's a great feeling. I
Yeah.
mean, it helps to clear you through this journey.
Yes, and it helps you to forgive yourself too, because that's a burden that we just carry along with us for so many years, and sometimes we do be the problem. but we
Mhm.
have to recognize and tell people that we are the problem and let them be able to accept our apologies as well.
That's true. A lot of women, we don't, as I mentor women, even in business, a lot of them do not accept their wrongdoing. You know, a lot of us will hold it in and we'll hold this grudge and we'll point the finger and make it seem like it's the other person's fault when deep down inside is issues that we have going on. You
Mhm.
know, so with me, you know, within my without excuse me throughout my journey, I go through and I've truly just apologized to clear my slate in hopes of, you know, God just mending and just fixing everything in my life.
Yeah, just with you doing this and having your new book, No More Residue, and you just taking this step is going to bring so many blessings to you because of the fact that you're sharing your testimony for others. And usually, God loves to see that. For us to admit everything, it's like you surrender to Him, like God,
Hmm.
sorry, just direct me, tell me what I need to do.
And that's true. Like I literally prayed. I woke up in the middle of the night and Crystal was sending a message and I'm like, okay, God, what am I up for? I'm just sitting around. And I actually responded to her message and she wanted me to be a part of the book. And I'm like, wow, you know, God actually woke me up for this. I kind of battled between two stories, between telling the story of what happened with Chanel's father and also this particular story, you know, unveiling Pandora's box. That's a part of No More Residue. And um, when I tell you it's an eye opener, you know, some people know portions of this story, some people don't. But, you know, and there may be some that look upset and get ticked off because it's like, I know she was talking about me. But this is my journey. It's not to defame anyone. It's not to, you know, um, make their character, you know, bad or anything of that nature, but it's telling my journey on, in all honesty, how I overcame something that I see in a lot of other women, men, and a lot of teenagers right now in today's community.
Yes, and I'm personally I'm proud of you too because
Thank you.
it does something to me. That's the reason why I have this podcast. Just when women just speak something, anybody that's watching this right now, they relate to you, and you're helping them right now. And whatever your destination is, whatever you share and everything, it is for you. And a lot of people need to just let people tell they side and let them be them and let them find ways for themselves to heal. And that's exactly what you're doing.
The goal is my main goal is not just to be this holy roller because you know I got my good days and my bad days. Like I posted today, I love God, but I love trap music. But with that being said, it is honestly to help break generational curses.
Yeah.
Had I had um, at the time somebody in my life to really push and speak to instead of criticize me, I honestly think I would have made different decisions. You know, I was broken, I was hurt, and it was things that, you know, brought a certain situation into my life that I kind of dealt with for years until it began to condemn me. And so, with that being said, there are a lot of women, men, and like I stress, especially teenagers that have these generational curses and they have no one to speak to, no
No.
one to talk to, no one to understand them. Instead, it's the you this, you that, you know better than this, you know better than that. So my goal is to, of course, I didn't put everything in the book, but as I speak, on different podcasts and shows or whatever God sees fit is to be able to help those individuals to break those generational curses of being broken and hurt and doing things that later in life they'll look back and I won't say regret because I regret don't regret anything I've done, but things that they'll look back and say, wow, I should have done something a little bit differently.
Yes. And what gives you such passion to go over the things physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and just having that foundation? What encouraged you to even go in depth like that, because some people could do one thing at a time. But the whole thing.
Well, in all honesty, that's when my girl Let It Go comes into play. I've done one conference on it a few years back, and it was after a very horrible relationship, bad breakup with someone that I had a great bond with. And it was during the time that I had my back injury, losing everything, during the time that my character was being defamed by very close friends. And I was at a point where I was going through a mental breakdown. Nobody knew. And so with that being said, I woke up one morning in the spirit, and I'm like, girl, just let it go. Let it go. You can't make people understand that you're not the monster that they think you are based off of who you're connected to. You can't fix your character. You can't fix your name. Right now you're not fighting the battle. God is fighting the battle for you. And for everything that I lost, he's giving back and more. I just told you, I'm a homeowner. He's giving back and more. He can't give back those years, but he still financially suffice for it. So even though I look crazy, even waiting on that and, still trying to maintain everyday life, I just knew, okay, this relationship is done. We can be friends later in life, but right now I'm not doing it. The back injury, if you can't get up out the bed, you can't go to the office. So when the lights get cut off, the doors get closed, and you don't have anywhere to go, what do? You got to let it go.
Yes.
You can't put food on the table. You can't be the woman that you're used to being. You're encouraging, but nobody knows that you're crying on the inside. How can you help others if you're hurting? And I had to just keep telling myself, let it go. Get out here and exercise. Get your money back right. Get your mind back right. Get your spirit back right. Same time going through church hurt, during that same exact time. So it was like all these things attacking me, spiritual warfare that I was going through. And I had nothing else to do but drop everything in front of God and let it go. And I promise you, even that particular conference, tears, testimonies, things I didn't even know about, friends and family that spoke, you'll be surprised who is holding something on the inside that they are crying, deep down on the inside, and they want somebody to know about, or they want help with, when, they're hearing friends and family saying, be quiet, you talk too much. Why are you telling people your business? This person said this about you. Instead, you want to let it out of you. You want to let it go and allow yourself to be healed from these things, but nobody's there to help.
Mm-hmm. And we have to let things go, because if we hold it in so long, you'll find ourselves, we'll get sick.
Mm-hmm.
Our bodies start to shift and change. All these medical problems start to appear. Our mind, it's like our mind takes over our whole body. So that's why I really asked you, because you really covered every base. Because people will start to react on whatever they're thinking.
And it's crazy you say that, and this is my daughter's testimony, and I'll let her go into it whenever God sees fit, because we're still enduring it. But stress will make your body completely shut down. Yeah. And it'll give you a diagnosis that, people will assume that you have. The doctors, the nurses, they'll assume you have one thing, but in all honesty, it is the stress that you've endured. And I honestly, I've actually had a family member that went through the same thing. I went through it, where my fingers wouldn't move and they began to jerk. And, I'm thinking, I'm fine. I'm looking fine. I'm posting as if I'm fine, and everything is going fine. But deep down inside, I was hurting, and nobody's seen it. So, it's so many different avenues you can go with it. But these are things that we don't recognize or we don't see because we're not used to it. And most people cover these things up instead of letting it be known that these are the symptoms, especially with the pandemic right now, with the stress levels. These are the symptoms and things that you need to be watching out for to see what's going to happen next if you don't get yourself together. Wow. You got to let it go.
You got to. So do you hold the conference every year?
I have not, and I need a whooping for it. But 2021, I promise I am going to bring it back. Like I said, I've healed from some things and I'm going through a major storm right now. But, as God sees fit, you never know who's actually going to grace the stage. It could be one of the authors, all of the authors, it could be children. Like, you will not know. I don't know what God is going to do this time. Last time he gave me every person's name on what to do and how to do it. And the stories were miraculous. I didn't even know they had these stories.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about No More Residue. You guys have it pre-ordered right now for everyone to get a copy. And you can get it on nomoreresidue.com. So tell me about your testimony portion in the book. Don't give them too much.
Just a little bit. So I'll just give the basic, and I hope it's okay with Crystal. But my basic is how I overcame bisexuality. Some people know that portion of my life, others don't. There are graphic stories in there about myself as well as others. They are very detailed. Like I said, disclaimer again, it's not to defame anyone's character at all. But it tells my journey and a few things that I actually endured of what I assumed what I wanted to do in life, because I was broken, I was hurt, I was sick of men. I was tired of being lied to, tired of being mentally abused, never physically, thank God. But I was at a breaking point in life where I just said, I can't do it anymore. And it kind of just happened. So I go into great detail. So don't look and say, wait a minute, Trace, you did what? Yes, I did. It's life. Like I said, it happens to the best of us. I'm not ashamed of it at all.
Hey, it's your testimony, though.
It is, and I love it. I mean, so many people right now are dealing with it. We cross over into a lifestyle that we assume that we want. And don't get me wrong, you have some individuals that were born that way, or that came out and they're like, this is how I want to be. But most people that I have come in contact with, not just myself, are broken, they're disgusted, they're tired, they've been molested, they've been raped. The list goes on. Something has occurred for them to shut that door on the opposite sex. And so with that being said, these are things that a lot of children, a lot of women and men, we don't discuss these things with our parents. I mean, I went through rape years ago. My mom, probably watching this, is probably jumping out of her skin, but I never discussed it with my mom. So there were things that occurred even in my life that, have to come to the forefront to say, this is not right. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And then, of course, I'm crossing into a different territory with people that take this lifestyle seriously. And so I'm playing with it pretty much. And they're looking at me like, why are you playing with me? And I'm saying, oh, I'm not playing, but I was. I was hurting. And as I healed, I removed myself, played with it for a while, but I removed myself because I knew that I was hurting at the time and I just wanted attention and I didn't care where it came from.
Right. And that's playing a dangerous game too. You could playing with people's heart, their minds and everything. They catch feelings, and that's how a lot of people get into bad situations as far as murder, stalking. It could come with a lot to do with, playing with other people's emotions. And it's good that you fixed it early on. So,
well, it's a situation in the book.
Okay.
It is a situation in the book that occurred. Me and this person now are the best of friends. But it is a situation that occurred that is in the book. You have to get the book to read it to see what happened. And please don't go pointing fingers and picking with anybody about it. But it is something that almost happened to me. And that also was an eye opener, because at that point it was like, whoa, is this what I really want to do? Like, women do this too? I was doing something to avoid a man, and this woman was actually about to do the same thing or even worse. So,
but that's like two women. At the end of the day, we're two women. We both emotional. We both carry the same things, and we just gonna react on however it is. But I'm glad you're safe, and I'm glad you're okay, and you here today to share your testimony. That
Thank
that
you.
that's what matters.
Thank you.
It definitely does. What's another trying time in your life that you experienced?
Oh gosh. Let's say my breakup. My breakup was extremely, to me, it was horrific. I parted ways with somebody I grew tremendously with. And I had to be okay with it. It was a decision of mine that I made after praying, after fasting. I was like, yo, he cut these lights off. It's over. Like, I'm not doing it no more. And I went into prayer with my sister that morning. And by maybe 1 o'clock, the lights got cut off in my office. And so, because I chose at the time to move out of my original office that God blessed me with, into something else, trying to be obedient, what do they call it? Submissive. Trying
Right.
to be a submissive girlfriend. I went into the space, and of course it made sense. It was a better storefront. Like, it truly did make sense at the time. But because we couldn't see eye to eye on things, and he was cheating, and the list goes on, it got to a point where I didn't care. No, I'm not doing anything. If you're doing everything, I'm not doing nothing. Financially, if you're gonna take care of it, that's what you said you're gonna do. You're gonna do it. But like I said, the lights got cut off, and like, this was during the back injury. It was during the defamation of character. And it was at a point where I was like, God, if this occurs, I'm going to remove myself. And God tested my gangster, because those lights went off.
Yeah.
And when they went off, it was like, he just got the lights off. I went on a rampage, grabbed the gun and everything. But once I calmed down and removed everything from the building, I had to realize this is what I put in front of God's face. And I kept hearing the song like Silver and Gold, don't give me a mansion on the top of the hill, the world with shallow thrills. And that is what I, was given. But it was basically God saying, if you allow me to take these things from you, I will replace it with something better.
Yeah.
And here we are. It took a while, 6 years later,
Yeah.
but now I'm in a better position, and way complete better peace of mind.
Wow, and he doesn't give us too much we can't handle, but don't it be feeling like it's the end of the world though?
It took forever. Like, I wanted his head. Like,
It's like
off
when
with his head.
it's like when we go through those storms, we be like, oh, it's like we just be okay, I
I
quit.
cut up. I cried, I kicked, I screamed, we talked about each other, we did stuff to each other, but now we're like the best of friends. We're cool, he has moved on, I have moved on. We actually have daughters that aren't that far apart, but in separate relationships. And we're good. Like, we're great friends now, but for years it was like, I hate you.
Yeah. It's to a point, when both people, when you've been in relationships, everybody is scarred at this point.
Yeah. And once again, we both had to give those apologies to say, hey, this is what I did. This is what you did. We didn't see eye to eye. I forgive you. Let's move on.
Yes, definitely. So, could you explain to everyone how they should be purchasing your book soon? Today.
Yes, the book's right now on pre-sale, $25. nomoresidue.com/Latrice. You can DM, you can call, you can Facebook me under Latrice Gatison, _ Billionaire Mindset on Instagram, Roseheather Gatison on LinkedIn, and pretty much just contact me. Right now, the sales are going phenomenal. I'm so happy. It was a very scary moment, of course, but as we continue to release this book, myself and the other 17 authors, just understand this. It took a lot out of us in order for us to produce this book. Some of us are actually going through similar situations that were in the book. Others have actually just tried to stomach the fact of getting it out there to you. So I would greatly appreciate it if you just purchase it and read everybody's story, not just mine.
Yes, I know that's right. So, a little bit more about your company, your business, and the services you provide. Can you go in more detail with that?
So Visionaire Academy, that name was provided again by God. I know people like, God did what? Yeah. Like he gives me everything. But it's business consulting, marketing, branding. We do your business foundation setup, such as your LLCs, your DUNS number, your EINs. And then I just merged Gatison Enterprises, which is my tax business, with Wealth Society Financial LLP with Thad Dean. He's a CPA. Love him. Like, this guy has actually pushed me to the next level when it comes to tax returns in business. And that's where we also host credit restoration webinars, training, and things of that nature. I just opened and launched Curve Me Boutique for curvy women.
Oh,
Because, of course, I'll never be under a medium, and I'll say even a large, because I'm bottom heavy. So, with that being said, I got sick and tired of looking for clothes in the store and can't find anything I can fit or wear,
okay.
because I'm not the average plus size. I'm smaller at the top and bigger at the bottom. So, I'm pretty much purchasing and finding custom items strictly for curvy women. And
That's
then I have Diva Doll Luxury Locks. That's the last one, which is the wigs, the hair, and things of that nature.
that's good. I wish you nothing but the best, and I'm
Thank
purchasing
you.
my book too. I'm
Grab it. I promise you, you will love it. You'll be surprised. I haven't read everybody's story yet because, of course, it's still kind of secret and solid to a certain extent.
definitely
But I promise you, as we've talked, as we've silently convened together, understand it's a tearjerker. It'll make you think. It'll make you grab your children. It'll make you pretty much rearrange your life and think how to do things differently. But most importantly, it'll make you apologize or check yourself physically, mentally, financially, emotionally, and spiritually. And in my point, it'll also make you apologize. It'll make you understand that life happens to the best of us. And it doesn't matter the position that you're in, whether it be corporate, a 9 to 5, a business owner. It doesn't matter. It does not subject you to not having something occur in your life.
wow. So thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Hopefully, I
you.
can see you again once everybody had a book out and you could talk publicly.
Ooh.
Tell.
I can't wait because I know you're ready for those stories.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you again, Latrice.
Thank you. Thank you. I truly appreciate this opportunity and blessings to you as well.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
You too. Good night.
Good night.
Bye bye.